Talking wrestling, living the dream. From Tokyo to London, across the globe, respecting the craft, we're in the know. No gimmicks or fakes, just pure passion and skill. The best talents from every wrestling hill. We dive deep into the stories behind the ring. Respecting the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, making the fans sing. Respect the craft, respect the fight. We bring the best, we can't hide.
And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 363, and I'm joined by the speed sensation. He is Dustin Flash Waller. What's going on, brother? How's everything, man?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. A lot better now that we could finally have this convo here, but I'm glad to have you on, man.
I know we finally locked it in. I appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to it.
No, likewise, man. Definitely. Again, you've been busy. I've been seeing everything you guys have coming up right now, everything you guys been doing, and then training till 1, 2 a.m. at times. So putting in that grind, man, it never stops. It never stops.
Got to.
But before we get into everything, because I have a lot I want to ask you here, I got to ask you the question I ask everyone that comes on. You heard the name of the podcast. It's called Respect the Craft. So when you hear that term, though, the craft, what does that mean to you?
The craft is professional wrestling. You know, people see pro wrestling as so many different things, and I think a craft or an art form or whatever, like a word like that, is a perfect way to describe it, because wrestling is whatever you want it to be. Whatever the viewer wants wrestling to be, like, you can find any kind of match, any kind of style, any kind of genre from any kind of person to put on some kind of wrestling match, and you can find it. So I think a craft is the perfect word to describe wrestling, because that's exactly what it is. It's an art form.
There you go. And it's perfect right now. The hoodie you're wearing, that's eat, sleep, wrestle right there. Because
that's it.
This is all we can do. It's one of those where it's that grind and all about this craft right here. We already got some viewers there. We got normal guys saying, what's up? What's going on? We got my brother, the Call Up Podcast. Let's go. What's going on, Kenny?
What's going on, guys?
But with that being said, I always like to do this, and I usually warn, and I forgot to do this beforehand, but I want to bring something up to talk about that journey, because that's always something I like to talk about as well with my guests. And I want to show you a picture here, and I want to get your reaction when it comes to this Dustin Flash Waller here.
Oh my God.
Compared to the one we see today. And just get your reactions from there.
Man, the first thing I could think of is that Dustin Waller just has a lot of fun. Just sitting there, just having fun, just living the dream.
Yeah,
that picture was taken. I remember where that was taken. That was taken at an old promotion called XWA, the Extreme Wrestling Alliance in West Warwick, Rhode Island, which was one of the first places that I really started to, really grind my teeth into like what I was actually doing, and really started to discover who Dustin Waller was. And that was one of them, figuring out what to do, the fancy tape. I tried duct tape for wrist tape. That stunk. That was a terrible idea. You could see it. It looked cool because it shined, but when you take it off, my God, it was brutal. But yeah, that Dustin Waller just is figuring himself out, and really, and you know what? I'm still doing it now, because, you never truly fully get it. And once you think you got it, there's levels and levels more that you got to start getting to. So I feel like, yeah, that was a blast from the past for sure. You got me with that one. I'll give it to you.
No, definitely. Because I was trying to find one from XWA, and I was like, I wanted to get you alone, because I remember so many matches with you and Alex Ryman that were going on around that time. Because I remember a lot of the roads with Smiley and Steve Benya that would go out there with you guys too. So it's like, okay, let me try to find the like youngest picture I could find. Like, let's see that. But so you look at that though, and you, like you said, that was still trying to find yourself. But how do we even get there? How does this journey begin for you? What was it that made you decide, you know what, I have to step into that ring? Where was that moment for you when it comes to your career?
Yeah, so for me, I got into wrestling a little bit later, which to me, it's not that late, but I was about like 10, 11 years old. But for some people growing up as children watching it, but I was about 10 or 11 when my dad, was just like, hey, you want to like start watching this wrestling thing? He had no idea what it was. He never watched it. My mom never watched it. So it was more just let's just try to start this new hobby together. And we started watching it Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, the whole 9 yards. And I'd go to a few house shows if I could and whatnot. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I thought of it as more of a hobby. Couldn't really talk to too many people at in middle school about it, because you know how a lot of kids felt about it. You know, they were at that age where it was like, okay, it's not that cool anymore. But I was like, I'm just getting into it, and this is awesome. I love it. And then I remember Northeast Wrestling, the promotion that runs in New England, predominantly Connecticut, when they used to run, they were doing shows with a lot of former WWE guys. And I never really knew what independent wrestling was. I never really watched independent wrestling because I didn't really know it existed. And I went to that show. I'll always remember this one. It was a certain show because I saw Cody Rhodes was on it. It was fresh off his release. He was really starting to, you know, cut his teeth in the indies. And I saw that he was on the show. The show was called Future of Flight. And he was wrestling this guy called Ricochet. I had no idea who Ricochet was. I knew who Cody Rhodes was, and that's why I'm going to the show. The show's called Future of Flight. It's named after Ricochet. I take a picture with Ricochet before the show, still not knowing. And long story short, after that match, I'm still a fan of Cody Rhodes, but I switched right over to who is this Ricochet guy and what is this stuff that he's doing? Like, this is insane. You can see me. If you find that match, you can see me. I'm up in the top bleachers, absolutely losing it. Because I was never a loud wrestling fan. I was never a cheerer or a screamer or a yeller. I was very much just sit and watch. My dad would always be like, you know, are you even having fun? I'm like, I'm loving this. This is awesome. Like, I'm just watching. I'm just enjoying it. And in that match, I was just losing. I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, what is this? And soon after I discovered who he was and I did some research, I found out that he quickly got signed. And I was like, whoa, like there's like wrestling outside of WWE and some TNA that I would watch here and there. I was like, there's wrestling out there. And that's when I really started to discover like Lucha Underground and then the old school Ring of Honors, the PWGs, and literally all the independents. And that's when I was like, oh, I can do this. I was like, this is something that I can do. I was like, I want to do this. That's it. Like, there's nothing else I want to do. So I found a school in East Haven, Connecticut called Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, which, you know, produces some of the best talent. I'm not to toot my own horn, or PAPW's horn. Brad Baylor, Richard Holiday, you know, you got some like myself, Kylon King, The Haven, Jermaine Marbury, you name it. And there's so many students there now that are soon to be exactly where we are and to be kicking ass all over New England. But I started there with Paul Roma and Mario Mancini. And honestly, the rest was really history. I started training when I was 15. It was a little 16th birthday present for myself. And I was like, you know what? It's time to grow up quick, because no one there was my age. I'll tell you that. So it definitely matured me really quick. And I started, I think my first day of training, I was in my sophomore year at high school. So still crazy young for when you should be starting wrestling. A lot of people start younger. A lot of people start older. I really say that there's not like, you're never too young or you're never too old to start wrestling. Like, you hear all the stories of people starting really late and then shooting straight to the top, starting really early, wrestling for 20 something years. So yeah, PAPW has been a home away from home for me. And it's home.
Oh, and again, you talk about just who's come out of there and then the trainers as well. Like, you have, when you hear that name of just Paul Roma as well, and then you look at the caliber yourself, you look at Richard Holiday, what he's been doing, you look at WWE Evolved recently and the WWID program, and it's just it works. It definitely works. And again, that age of 15 doing that, 16 going into there, I really feel like there never is that like right age too. If it's too young, too old, if you have that passion for this, or pun intended, the respect for the craft to do it, why not give it a try? That's the least you could do is just put your step in the door and see what happens next. So,
oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But there we go. We got Anthony Gamble in the chat saying, "Shout out to the BST fam. What's going on, Gamble? What's going on?
What up,
Gamble?
Gamble?
Talk about that in a little bit, because I mentioned WWID, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But before we get to that, I do want to continue on that journey, because now, again, you have that fandom for it. You have that love, especially finally deciding to get in there. How was it finally when you began that training? That moment for you of, do I stick with this? Because I can imagine it's always that first bump that it's like that make it or break it. Let's do it again. So how was that experience for you when it came to finally you're in there, you're taking those bumps, and then it's like, where do we go from there?
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely something that in the beginning my mother wasn't the most fond of. She didn't really love wrestling while I was watching it. It took her a little bit. It took her a while to grow, like for it to grow on her.
Gotcha.
But I started it out. Obviously, I was maybe 140 pounds, 15 years old, you know, body's still growing, everything's still growing. And I'm throwing myself at this mat as hard as I can, you know, being like, what is this? Like, this is crazy. Like, obviously I knew that wrestling rings were made of metal and wood. Like, I knew it wasn't nothing great. It was nothing comfortable, but getting into it that young and getting the small little nicks and bruises and injuries here and there and whatnot. It helped me really realize that like this is going to be something serious, but this is something that I want, you know, because like going there, Paul would tell you the stories of like there are plenty of people that come in here and then they walk out the door and they never come back, and that's fine. And I just didn't want to be that. I was like, I don't want to be the example that he uses for the next person that comes in. You know, like I don't want another 15-year-old to come in and be like, oh, you know, there was someone your age, but they just dipped and left and, you know, it wasn't for them. So I really stayed motivated and remembered like just the dream, because that's all it is, you know, like we're all fans at heart, but the wrestlers are the biggest fans of them all because we did it. We just started doing it. We're like, you know what, I'm so obsessed with this that I'm actually going to start doing it. And yeah, the journey was crazy. I think I debuted September 19th or September 18th, 2018. So it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years into training that I debuted, and I was 16 when I debuted. And yeah, I'm going on 7 years now, and it's been crazy. Training at PAPW has definitely made me the wrestler that I am today.
There you go. Again, shout out to that team and again what they've been doing and what you still are doing now. Because I've seen, like I said, seeing the post certain times, and I'm like, how is he awake at this time? And it's like, oh wait, he's training at this time too. And it's like, hey, and again, it's putting in that grind, having that respect for it, and not wanting to be again. You want to make sure you're always at that next step, that step ahead, and continuing what you guys are doing. But from going from there, now you're on that journey. You've stuck with it. How do we get to now you lining up with Kylon King and forming Miracle Gen? How do we get to that journey?
So in my little class of PAPW, it was me to be the first one. I was there training with Mario and Paul. And then the Haven actually showed up together as friends. They wanted to be a tag team off rip. So then they came in, and then Kylon came a little bit after. So I think in a span of maybe 2 years, we were all there together.
Nice.
And obviously, you know, you're all friends and whatnot. You don't really think nothing of it. Haven's a tag, me and Kai doing singles. We, for the majority of the early of our careers, like the first 3 years of our career, we were doing singles like XWA. We were all doing singles. I'd wrestled Kai countless amount of times, so many times at PAPW, at XWA, so many other promotions around New England. And we started doing ring crew for Uncharted Territory for Beyond Wrestling. We actually wrestled the Shook crew at Tessa Strength in Connecticut, which is another school, a great school with Slick Larry Brown, Bobby Ocean. Produces guys like Sammy Diaz, Ichiban, you know, all these great guys. Like I say that Connecticut is a hidden area for wrestling because there's not too many places in Connecticut, but the schools produce some of the best talent, like guaranteed. And we wrestled the crew at Tessa Strength, and they were just like, hey, there's this little tournament going on. It's like a tag team discovery gauntlet, and they really don't know who's going to be in it. So they're just like picking teams and just like discovering teams. That's what it is, the discovery gauntlet. You're discovering tag teams. And, you know, you should like go over there. And because it was Slick Wagner Brown who actually put us together, who runs Tessa Strength. He just said, let's just put, you know, Kylon and Flash together and see how it works and whatnot. And it was really, we had maybe 1 or 2 tag matches. And then we got messaged after doing ring crew for about a month at Beyond. They were like, are you a tag team? We're like, yep. Knowing that we really weren't. We were just like, yep, we're a tag team. We're there. We're a team. Because the one thing Paul always taught us is whatever the promoter wants, you're going to give them. You know, like if they need something, you say, yep, I'm there. I could do it. So we told them we were a tag, knowing that we weren't. And we went in there, beat Brick City, and then beat Above the Rest and won the Discovery Gauntlet. And it was one of the craziest moments, I think, of our career, just because it was so like, this is crazy. Like me and Kai would always talk at training about like, oh, it'd be cool if we could be a tag team. Like that'd be kind of cool one day. And to actually do it was pretty nuts. And you could see we didn't even have matching gear. I had the red, he had his green on. Like we didn't look like a tag team at all. We came up with some moves at the school. We just had good chemistry with each other because we train all the time. So we understand each other. We know what the other person does and doesn't do. And that following week after the Discovery Gauntlet was the first ever Restival, which was the weekend of shows that people run 5 shows a day and whatnot from like 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we were only on, it was the Wrestling Open, the Soft Open, they called it, I think. It was episode 0. We were going to wrestle, I believe, Elijah Six and Sammy Diaz.
Nice.
And the Firm, guys that we wrestled countless amount of times. And I believe a team called off or something happened where someone couldn't make it. And Drew was just like, hey, do you guys want to wrestle Violence is Forever at Heavy Lies the Crown? This is our like biggest show of the year. And we're like, Yeah, sure. So we go in there, we do the soft open. Our match gets switched to us versus Ricky Shane Page and Vincent Nothing. We main event that. And I think that was more just a test because Ricky being a partial owner of Beyond, Drew was probably like, we got these new guys, see what they can do and what they can't do. And then the next day we wrestle Violence is Forever. And the rest was really just history. People were just like, who are these people? Because we weren't much of anything. We weren't wrestling anywhere on the indies. We did XWA, but that was during COVID.
Yeah.
So really when all of their guys went away because of COVID came, we all just would go. I remember the car rides would just be me, Kai, Haven, Ichiban, Elijah Six, just crammed into our car, driving 2.5 hours to XWA, wrestling in front of nobody in the middle of COVID. And that just made people discover like, who are these guys? And like, where did they come from? So the whole discovery gauntlet really we just took an opportunity and ran with it. Like I said, we weren't even a tag team. So when we got that opportunity, it just kept like folding and rolling and rolling and rolling. And then Wrestling Open started, and there was really not much else to say. That the rest is history.
Which is insane to look at because again, it's one of those where, hey, this is why they say whatever's needed, you try. It's that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
The opportunity you guys got, that it's insane to look at because it changes the trajectory literally of both of your careers. Because you look at the opportunities that have come since now fully being a genuine tag team here. And you see that chemistry with you guys that it makes sense training together, becoming friends, becoming like brothers there, that it's a situation of to then be thrown basically to the wolves with, hey, let's see what happens when you guys face RSP and Vincent Nothing. And then the next night facing Violence is Forever, who is arguably one of the best tag teams going right now, which is insane to see just, hey, let's see what happens. If you weren't a tag team before, this is going to be that test.
Exactly. And I don't even know if they knew that we weren't in a tag team because we told them we were. We just showed up with no matching gear. They're like, this tag team probably sucks. What do you mean? What are they doing? Like, we came up with these random moves that we just thought about doing. And like, yeah, now Violence is Forever, we've wrestled them like 4 or 5 times, I think, like at so many different promotions. Like we beat them to become the IWTV Tag Team Champions. And then that was a whole nother story in its own for a year and a half. So yeah, it's been a ride.
It's insane to see. But also I can imagine Drew seeing you guys in not matching gear. It's like something tells me they weren't a tag team, but well, too late now. And look at that though. Again, the team that you guys have been just showcased time and time again when it comes to Wrestle Open and just beyond as a whole. And again, it starts somewhere. It's that foot in the door and taking the opportunity when you guys could, and look at you guys now. Again, and still doing things singles as well. Again, you guys are one of the best tag teams, but also still proving why you two are great as singles as well, or trios when Ichiban's around as well.
Yeah, of course.
So, but with that being said, let's get into a few of the matches because your schedule's a little busy coming up as well. So starting with this weekend, as it's a first time ever at Live Pro Wrestling, it's going to be yourself going head to head here with Motar. And let's talk about that. Just this one here. You just posted your comments about it, I believe yesterday, if I'm not mistaken too.
Yeah.
Or it was posted yesterday. Your thoughts going into this one this weekend?
I'm really excited for this because it wasn't even supposed to happen, to be honest with you. I was just sitting at home. I believe it was sometime last week. And I was like, I've never wrestled Mortar before. I was like, I've shared so many locker rooms with him. I talk to him all the time. He's one of my close friends. And we've never wrestled. So I just went on Twitter, put out a tweet just to say exactly that. And Teddy Goods from Black Pro Wrestling comments under it with a little question emoji. And I'm like, all right, is there something here now? So I look and I see Live Pros running on Sunday, and I'm like, I'm free. And I just said, screw it. I commented. I said, I'm free Sunday. Are you free Sunday, Mortar? And he said yes. And then the graphic gets posted, and I was like, well, I guess I got to mark it down on my calendar now. I'm wrestling Mortar now. So it is all fun and games, but Mortar is serious. He is a serious competitor. He really is. And he's someone that brings people up to his level. He doesn't stoop down to theirs. He pushes people to that next level and gets them to that next place that they got to be at. And I'm really looking forward to it on Sunday because he's someone, like I said, I've never wrestled, and it took this long for it to happen. So I really mean it. It might be the last. Who knows? If it was the first time now, who knows who's going to run it again, unless we blow it out of the water and everyone wants to have the match everywhere, which, fingers crossed.
I was going to say, I feel like that's usually how it happens when it's one of those where people think about it, like, wait, how has this not happened before? Especially both are wrestling in similar areas that it's like, how has this not been put together? And it just takes that one moment that it's like, well, hey, you both are around, you both are free. Why not? Let's put it together. And look at that. We got Lisa Rivera saying good luck this weekend wrestling my cousin Motor. Oh, there you go. So you got a family affair there.
Damn, I got to beat up your cousin now. That's crazy. I feel bad now.
There you go. But again, that starts this weekend. But then coming up next weekend, the schedule gets even crazier because I mentioned it earlier with WWID, but you're going to be defending that BST territory championship, as it will be representing BST there. It's going to be a full packed weekend with multiple companies coming together as you'll be taking on the Carolina Reaper himself, Jackson Drake. Your thoughts on this one, especially with that territory championship on the line there?
Yeah, I just had my first defense last month again, or not last month, I don't say a few weeks ago against Hammer Tunis. And he's having his retirement show, or his retirement match this week as well at PvP. So that was a hell of a first defense. I wanted to get that match with him before he was on his way out. And then I saw this match was announced earlier this week, and I was just like, all right, like it's like once you're the champ, it's cool to win a belt, but once you get it, you got to keep it and you got to defend it and you got to show that this is the territory championship. So I want to face people from every territory that there is, whether that territory is out of New England or whether that territory is WWE ID. And Jackson Drake is someone that I've shared some locker rooms with at DPW and whatnot whenever I'm in the area. And now he's formed a stable with Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, who are people that have also wrestled. So I'm very interested to see how it goes. It's definitely a clash of styles for sure. And I heard that he had an absolutely crazy match with Marcus Mathers at FSW over WrestleMania weekend. So I'm going to watch that one for sure to do some research and study, because Marcus is a lot like myself style-wise. So I want to see how it went, what to do and what not to do. And I'm 100% not looking to lose my championship on the second defense. So I'm definitely going to stay the VST Territory Championship for sure.
Oh, definitely. And you look at that history of that championship so far, you have like Lucas Chase that has been won, Darius Carter, who was taking it all over the territories, facing everyone that was thrown at him. And now again, your reign here, that it's second defense and it's just the beginning, and we'll see what happens. Again, Jackson Drake is someone that he's had his own right, learning under LeBron Cozone, learning under Colby Carino, doing things now with WWID. Yeah, it's not starting easy here with your title reign.
No, definitely not. But you know what? I want a challenge. You can't have it easy.
No, definitely not. But then we continue here as you have another matchup coming up that's going to be for Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling, their event Turbulence, as you're going head to head with Jason Blade. This one happening a little later in May for their 17th event. Talk to us about this one. Your thoughts going in there with Jason.
Rebel Spirit, it's a place that obviously a lot of people know is roughly new. I've had some really cool matches there. I can say that, to say the least. Miles Hawkins, I've wrestled a countless amount of times there from MCW. I just had a match with LJ Cleary, which was absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed that one. I've wrestled Spencer Slade. I've had some really good matches that have honestly helped push me to that next level. And that's what I want to do everywhere, but especially at Rebel Spirit, because they've been giving me tests. And Jason is one of those guys. We go back to XWA. That's one of the places that he was at consistently back in the day. He wrestled Kylon there actually at one of the last, I think it was the last XWA show that they wrestled at. So I, again, got to study up on some matches. You got to study your opponents. It is homework. It is work. You got to see what you're getting into. You can't just go in there and wing it. I'm going to watch his matches. I'm probably going to watch the one with Kylon from a few years ago, even though he's probably changed. Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to it because they're saying it's the past versus the present, or the past versus the future. So I'm definitely interested to see how it goes.
Got you. And it's one of those situations, I was going to bring it up earlier when you brought up the show you went to with Ricochet versus Cody, that it's funny looking at the title that's Future of Flight. And then we look at the trajectory of your career here, where again, many can argue you currently are one of the Future of Flight here with just the style you bring in Kylon as well. So it's again, it's a little poetic there when it comes to everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there we go. We got Matt also in the chat as well saying, what's up, Flash? Hope all is well. A phenomenal athlete, was lucky to share a ring with an attack scramble match. Oh, there you go. Got some time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we wrestled at, we wrestled at BST.
There you go.
A while back, long time ago.
Again, for BST, if you guys are listening, maybe we got to run that back eventually. Have Flash do some double duty eventually if needed. Got to add more to the repertoire there. But as we continue as well, a tag match that I'm definitely looking forward to, because I'll be doing some media that day. It's going to be for PWJ's second event here with Broken Goods. as it will be the Miracle Generation going head to head with Top Flight. Talk to us about this one, because again, you guys have also just, it's been a stacked time so far at Broken Goods, and you guys went head to head first with the Righteous and now going head to head here with Top Flight. Just your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, this one is definitely, it's going to be a test for sure. You got they're young in their own right, and so are we. So we're definitely just young, hungry tag teams trying to be the best, and they're where we want to be. Simple as that. They've done things that we want to do, so we probably got to beat them to get to that place. We got to do what we have to do. And again, we've already watched a lot of Top Flight matches. We were big advocates of them before they got to AEW, and so this match is definitely one that has been on the bucket list. Myself and Kylon have been lucky to have a lot of big tag team matches over the years, like Workhorsemen, MXM, GYV. We've had countless amount of matches, so we've prepared ourselves for the pressure. Definitely the pressure when it comes to tag team matches, we're good for it. We thrive under pressure. Like I said, that's where it all started. So I'm 100% ready for this match, and I know Kai is too. So we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. You love to see it there. And we got Matt Awesome with, again, the hand emojis there. We got Mateo saying 86. Okay, he's counting down because, like we spoke before the air, my show, Respect, that'll be coming up this July. He keeps counting down, but in an evil way. So I'm not sure. I got to look out for him. I'm not sure what's going on with Mateo there. But we now talk about that, though, the experiences you guys have. And I have to ask this question here. I always say it's a little bit of a harder one. If it's too hard, blame Alex Shelley, because I had to ask him. I had to find one to stump Alex Shelley, which is very difficult to do.
Oh boy, well, here we go.
I came up with this. When it comes to, we're gonna do double for this one, because I want one that's gonna be just for you as solos, and then one as a tag. What would you say for you, a match that defines who Dustin Waller is that you've had so far?
Jeez.
Again, we had to stump Alex Shelley, so it's like we had.
Because you hate to pick favorites. Like, it's that same question of, like, what's your favorite match you've had? But there are so many levels to it. Like, who you're in the ring with, how much fun you have, how hurt you get, how big the crowd could be. Like, singles wise, there's always two that come to mind. But I think the one that I can narrow down as the pure definition of who I am and what I bring to the table is my match with Lio Rush at Wrestling Open from a few years ago. That match absolutely pushed me to my limit like no other match has. It's a match that I've wanted for a very long time. He was someone that when I became a fan of the independents, he was one that I watched thoroughly. I became a huge fan of his work. And for him to actually request the match with me at Wrestling Open was another crazy thing to even be imagined. I was like, this is nuts. And he's just one of the nicest guys I've ever met, truly. He's a very stand-up guy. And he came to Wrestling Open when he didn't have to and put on one hell of a match with me when honestly I wasn't ready for it. But I always say you're never going to be ready for something that you've never encountered before. That's the one thing that I tell a lot of the people at PAPW is like, it's great to be nervous, but how are you going to be ready for something you've never done? Like, you learn how to swim by practicing swimming and doing it over and over and almost drowning and coming back to the top. And like, you gotta fail. So you're never going to be ready. And I definitely wasn't ready for that match. And I am looking forward to the next one because I want it to happen again. And yeah, so singles, I would have to say the match with Lio Rush because everything put together into it was very special for sure. Tag wise, there's a lot of great matches that me and Kai are very happy with. But I'd have to say that one that stands out to us as one of our favorites, again, it's a pick between two, but I think the one would have to be us. It was one of many matches we've had with these two guys, with Bang and Matthews. It was at Freelance Wrestling. It was one of our IWTV tag title defenses, and that match was nuts. It was our first and only time at Freelance, and that crowd is just insane. It was the Logan Square Auditorium. Absolutely wild crowd, fired up the entire time. And it kind of felt like the same match that we had with Becca and Aaron Rourke at American Rana a few years back, where the crowd is just so behind it. And it's always those matches that you're like, it's going to be a tag match. You know, we come here, we do it. But it blows your own like proportions out. Like, you're like, I didn't even expect it to be that great. And it's insane. So it's always matches that, not that you don't think are going to be good, but that you don't expect to be what they become. If you look into it like, oh, this one's going to be absolutely insane, It might be, but you already spoiled it for yourself. But if you go into it just like I'm just here to have fun, I'm here to do my job, I'm here to stay with the task at hand, and sometimes like it's special moments happen. So I'd have to say tag wise, the match with Bang & Matthews at Freelance.
Got you. There we go. And those are two matches right there. I could imagine if done again, it's just going to be even crazier, especially you and Leo at where you're at now in your career. That I think it's a whole different Dustin Waller that he could be facing, and even a different Leo, because at this point, just all the incarnations he's been going with the Black Heart going in now that he's been teaming more with Andretti, that it's one of those where you never know. Maybe we need that tag match to be.
Yeah, I think that's the tag we need. We need the tag match.
Yeah, we might need to see that, but no, it's one of those. I like to ask this just because, like I said, I wanted to stump Shelly just because I can imagine his just matches in his head, and he answered quicker than I'd imagined. I was like, oh, I guess it wasn't as difficult. It's like I've kept it here because I'm like, let's see what people look at when they look at just their list of matches, and it's one where I can imagine it's a lot easier to pick favorites, but to truly look at one and that it's like this defines what you've done so far, knowing that there's so much more to go, that it's always interesting to hear.
Yeah.
So, but we go into that now, and we talked about it right there. Maybe we need that tag with Leo and Action Andretti. But I also want to look into what are some matches you still want to have that maybe haven't happened yet, or they're just like, oh, we had that chance to, be it singles or tag.
Ooh, that's a tricky one because, like I said, there's so many like first time evers that haven't happened, or even ones that have happened so many times that you want to have again. There's one match that I did have that I want to have again, not because I didn't like it, but again because I don't think I was ready for it, and I think I could do it a lot better now, and that person could push me a lot more. And that was my match with Speedball Mike Bailey that I had at Fight Life a few years back, and that show was actually named after us. It was called With the Quickness, and we main evented. It was in Connecticut, so that again was another really, really special moment to main event in my home state in front of family and friends against someone that, again, I've looked up to tremendously, watching all of his tapes while he was in Canada and unable to be in the US. But the second he came back, he came to Fight Life, and that's where I was at Fight Life's first show, and so was he. So that's what really drew me to Fight Life, is I was like, oh, they're like, wow, this is crazy. And he's someone that would always watch my matches and give me feedback on them, whether I asked for it or not. He just came up to me, told me, here's what you need to work on. Here's what you got to do. Good stuff, bad stuff in between. And I was like, this is just a stand-up guy. He's just a nice guy. He just wants to help. So he was another one that went to the Fight Life promoter and just said like, hey, like, I think I'd like to wrestle this guy. And we were supposed to wrestle in the first round of the Fight Life title tournament, but he ended up having to do the best of the Super Juniors, which I think, again, that was a blessing in disguise because we were probably going to open the show, and he probably had so many more matches after that for the weekend and whatnot. But we ended up wrestling, I think it was a Wednesday, like I said, main eventing in Connecticut, a show named after us. And it was definitely a match I'm very proud of, but one that I think I want to do again, and that we can really hit right on the nail for sure.
There you go. Again, that's 3 matches right there. We're gonna have to see someone book those matches. We're gonna put it out there. Wait, there's more respect shows coming up. We'll see what we do. We talked about that off the air. That's still something I need to make happen too, is bring Miracle Jen to respect eventually. But we look at that. Then is there any tag matches that you're still like, you know what, we need to make that happen too?
Let me see.
I think I know one that I spoke with a certain promoter about, but I want to see if that's the one you mentioned.
Oh boy, now I'm on the spot. I'm trying to think. You mentioned Leo in Action, but like I saw them post that they're taking independent bookings, and I'm like, that's one that we can get right there. We need that. Myself and Kai both had Leo in singles, and to get him in a tag with his now partner would be absolutely phenomenal. I'm trying to think if there's anyone independent wise that we just haven't wrestled. Is it a team that we haven't wrestled before? Do you know that? Is the one that you're thinking?
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. There was technically 4. They were down to 3, but they're a duo.
Oh boy. See, because I feel like every we've wrestled so many tag teams in New England. The point when someone's like, "Oh, it's the first time ever," we're like, "Really? There's another new team we haven't faced? This is crazy."
Because I was trying to think. I don't think you guys have touched. They're another one. They have held tag titles in. Technically, the group has held tag titles in both TNA and in WWE or NXT. Better yet.
See, you got me now. Now I'm really thinking. This little question game we got going on.
I didn't think this would stump him because I thought that would be the instant.
The
answer.
second you say it, I'm probably gonna be really upset with myself, and I'm probably because I'm not thinking about it.
Let me see if you get it just from the hand signal. Maybe that
Oh
gives
my
it
god! Oh boy! Of course. Are you crazy? Okay. That was my first thought when you said they were a group. I was like, okay, are we thinking Rascals? I was like, is that what's going on? So okay, of course, absolutely. The Rascals are a team that we used to watch all the PWG clips, and we still do. You know, because like they were one of the most, and still are the most innovative tag teams, and that's a trio, faction, four-way, whatever you want to call it. That they can pair any two of them off, and you'll have chemistry. You'll have crazy tag team matches. Yeah. So literally any members of the Rascals, even I'd love to wrestle Zach in singles as well, or Trey, like that. Those would be crazy good matches to have. That'd be like really good learning experiences. Because that's where I'm at now. I'm like, I just like, you only get better by wrestling people better than you.
Agreed.
Like that's a fact. You only get better by being with someone that is better than you and that can bring you to their level. Or someone that's at your level that you can both bring each other up, you know? So I definitely want to just get pushed. I don't want to, like, having like easier matches is fine, but I want to be challenged. You know, you want to have those nerves. You want to be pushed to your limit and like just get better. You just want to get better.
Got you. No, that's one. We'll clip this, but take out the part where it takes you a while to.
Yeah. Just say I got it.
You got it from this. That's it. That's all you needed. We'll just chip it up and then tag them all in it because we've had Myron on the show before. We've had Myron on the show, and again,
I wrestled Myron years ago.
Yeah,
I wrestled Myron a while back. That was another fun one.
So there we go. We'll put that out there. But again, that's some amazing matches right there. Anyone listening, we know there's a few promoters that are going to be watching. So hey, there's some ideas for you.
Oh yeah.
If we don't make it happen first. So, but as we continue here, we talk about experiences and opportunities. I want to talk to you about one that you and Kylon both got a few months back, and that was getting to not only make your debut there, but especially just in the venue that it was, getting to be a part of Ring of Honor. Yeah. How was that experience for you guys? Because I don't know if you noticed, there's a little inspiration when it comes to this logo here and all that. So that was amazing to see.
Yeah, that was insane. It was a crazy weekend. They had, I think, 3 shows that whole weekend. They did the pay-per-view for Ring of Honor, and they did Collision, and they also, I think it was the last Rampage as well. They did the final Rampage taping there, and it was crazy because MXM are guys that we've wrestled a number amount of times, and that's crazy to even say. It's crazy to even say that, you know, they are, and they're honestly they're friends of ours now. Like, you know, they're people they've helped us a lot, honestly, because I remember when me and Kai were literally just sitting at home, and we got a message from DPW at like 9 at night and was like, hey, the team that we had wrestling MXM tomorrow can't make it. Can you guys fly out in like a few hours? And we're like, yeah, you pack your bags and go. Well, yeah, no, sorry, I can't make it. Like, you know, like it's one of those things that we ended up wrestling them in their first match on the independents and went absolutely crazy with them. DPW is one of my favorite independents going right now. I think it is number 1, if not number 2. It could be number 1 to me. Personally, it's my number 1. We've had some of the craziest matches there, and then wrestling them at Beyond. Again, in one of, I think the Beyond show was the biggest crowd we ever wrestled in front of. It was 2,500 people at this giant festival, and we defended our IWTV tag team titles against them, and a longer match than we had at DPW. So we already had 2 matches with these guys, and then to get the opportunity to wrestle them on Ring of Honor in Hammerstein Ballroom. Again, like you said, it's nuts. Wrestling for Ring of Honor is already really, really cool, but wrestling for Ring of Honor inside the Hammerstein Ballroom is insane.
I remember the history there too. It's insane.
The history, that was the one thing. When we walked to the ring, we got in there like right before they were about to walk out. I just looked at Kai and I just said, just look around for a second. Like, we're inside of a Ring of Honor ring, inside the Hammerstein Ballroom, and this is just the little kid in me. Justin Roberts just said our name. That's kind of crazy, you know, like that's my childhood. Like, like Justin Roberts was in my ear my entire childhood. Like it's one of those things that I was just like, this is crazy. Like you always hear to stop and smell the roses because you don't get to do it enough. And I agree, because if I go back and look at all the crazy things that I've done, I'm like, I do sometimes wish that I'm just like, let's just sit and realize what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, my dream was to become a pro wrestler. September 18th of 2018, dream was complete, done. That was the dream, to become a pro wrestler. I became a pro wrestler. Everything else that I've done after that, I would have never even thought of happening. Like, I always say that I have no problem saying that I'm not a big goals person or like an aspirations person, because half the things that I've done wouldn't have even been on my list. They would have been like all the way gone, never, there's no shot. So I'm just going with the flow and having fun. And that was really one of those stop and smell the roses moments, because I'm like, we're wrestling guys that we've wrestled before, which is crazy to say. And we're wrestling in Hammerstein Ballroom for Ring of Honor. And it's one of those moments that you can never take away. It's who knows when Ring of Honor is going to be back there, or any kind of wrestling, you know. GCW was there a few months after, and who knows who's going to be back. So it was definitely a really, really cool moment, one that I'll cherish forever, for sure.
Oh, that again, it's amazing to see, and just everything added to it. That it's, again, getting to wrestle for Ring of Honor with the history that company has and just the prestige, but then to also do it at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which again, that building alone, just the illustrious history of wrestling with Ring of Honor as well, and just everything that's been done there, to be able to do that. And again, congratulations to you both, and again, much respect for that, man.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
There we go. We got Gamble throwing down that gauntlet. He wants to run that match. And he's another one that's been a mainstay at BST. So I can imagine he's watching at that territory championship of yours.
Yeah, that's another first time match. Never had it before, you know? Like, there's so many out there that need to happen, because I want to get to a point where I've wrestled everybody. And that there's a match I haven't had. So like, me and Gamble definitely got to run it for sure.
There you go. No, that's one of those that it's like, before you know it, it's like, oh wait, now there's this person that I haven't faced, this person that I haven't faced.
Exactly.
And then you go all around. That's like, well, now there's some international matches I need to make happen and everything like that, where it's always that the list never ends, which is, I think it's a good thing too, because you never want it to just become, well, now we're seeing this match again for the 22nd time or something. But even though there have been some that's like, it's those feuds that's like, it never ends, but it always just gets better every single time. So
yeah,
that's always the nice balance of it there. But as we start wrapping this up here, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Dustin, this has been a pleasure to have you on here. I have to ask you the final question that I ask everyone that comes on, and that is, for Dustin Waller here, what is the end goal?
See, now saying what I just said about how I'm not a big goals person, you just threw me right to the fire. What is the end goal? Honestly, in this, like, I'm not going to try to sound cliche, but the end goal is genuinely just to be happy. It is to be happy, to have fun, and to just remember that 13-year-old kid going to see Cody Rhodes and then becoming a huge Ricochet fan and saying, oh my God, I can do this. This is crazy. And just to not be stressed out, just to have fun and really enjoy it, because this is my dream. And dreams, there's always ups and downs. There's going to be times where I love it. There's going to be times where I hate it. People say wrestling doesn't owe you anything. It really doesn't. So I think the main goal, or the end goal, is just to be happy, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, what show I'm on, who I'm wrestling, where I'm wrestling, just to have fun and be happy. Because if you're doing what you love and you're not happy, then it's not truly what you love. So yeah, the end goal is just be happy.
Got you. There you go. That's the best way to do it. And again, it's one of those where you look at just everything you've been through, starting at this at 15, to see what you've done so far. And again, so young in your career still, because it's still 6 going on 7 years in, and the amount that you've already done, and there's still miles and miles to go, man. So again, keep doing what you're doing. Before I let you go, I want to remind everyone, if they haven't already, make sure you are following Dustin Waller on all of his social media. Instagram right there, it's Dustin Waller. On X right there, at it's Dustin Waller. All the links will also be in the description down below. Thank you so much for joining us again, Dustin, everyone watching. Thank you guys so much for watching again. As always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. Respect the craft. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, everybody.